there's a tool that we can use to go a bit more deeply into some of the really core parts of being human, which Jesus really opens to us in the wilderness experience that he had. He had just heard that he was the Son of God. You are my beloved Son. And then Jesus goes into this wilderness experience where his identity is profoundly challenged with the if you are the Son of God. And those three temptations that Jesus faces are part of our core humanity, and we all face them every day. And there's a way of being able to think of them that can be a prompt for us to know where are we vulnerable and where is God wanting to reassure us. So I want to speak of them in terms of their fear, really. The first temptation that Jesus is given is around turning bread into stones. And that is, it speaks to his appetite. It speaks to the needs that we have, the very physical needs that we have as humans. And it speaks into a fear of lack, of not having enough, literally being hungry, lacking whatever it is, our physical needs, a fear of lack. Then the second temptation that Jesus is given is one where he's invited to sort of throw himself from the temple and be caught by the angels. And it's quite an unusual picture that's given to us. And to understand it in the setting of that day is that really for Jesus to have done that, to have had the picture that's painted to him of one of him jumping down the temple, this place where people would gather for authority and for the power of the world, for him to do that and have the angels catch him would be a real physical sign of who he is and that acceptance that he is the Lord of the temple. So in here is this kind of invitation into acceptance. Particularly if we come to think of what Jesus actually happened. Jesus wasn't accepted, he was rejected, and he was rejected particularly in connection to the temple. The charges that were laying at him were about tearing down the temple. So here you have this fear of rejection. Then that final temptation that he had, which was about bowing down, turning away from God as authority and power, and in response to that, bowing to something else, would be made kind of kings of the kings of the earth, that kingdom, and that is an expression of success. This is a way of being able to be successful, and so here is. And that way you get this approval because you have been successful. So it speaks to our fear of failure. A sense of call that Jesus had to be, the King of heaven and earth. He's given a mock version of that to speak into that fear of failure. So the corresponding love and faith that we speak to these temptations is that in Christ, all of these are sorted. All of these are overcome. That we are pure and holy and blameless in God's sight. We are accepted into the Most High, into the Holy of Holies. And in Christ, there is no condemnation for those that are in Christ Jesus. And in terms of fear of lack, that beautiful part of Paul's writing where he says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And the context of that is he's speaking about, I have learned to be in plenty, I have learned to be in lack, I have learned to be hungry, I have learned to be filled. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And so the testimony of the saints, the testimony of Jesus, to which we are invited to go deeper into in our own lives, is that God is faithful in these areas, and that these very human temptations are ones that we need to be alert to and able to bring to God in the faithfulness of Jesus to us.